Hi. So for this week's workshop, we're going to be looking at creating some drawings onto aluminium foil. So it's a process that's called embossing, and by applying pressure onto these very thin sheets of aluminium, you can create a drawing that is textured. So actually the lines are created by the pressure that you apply, and the indent creates the line. So it's the way the line works on the surface of the aluminium to create the drawing. So I thought the demonstration that I'll run you through is me doing a portrait image, and I've included in your box a template of a very basic outline of a portrait that you might like to use as your starting point. You don't have to do a portrait if you don't want to. If you just want to spend some time exploring the foil and the marks that you can make on it, so you can do look at how you can do more basic shapes like the flowers and just trying to do different lines in it. That's absolutely fine. So, and if you want to keep it very basic as well, you don't have to do all the detail that I show in the video. You can stop at any point if you just want to do the outline of the face. So really do as much or as little as you'd like with this activity, because you could spend hours on it by adding in lots of detail. You can keep it very, very simple by just doing an outline, and both are very effective, and you get an idea for how the process works. So I'm going to start my portrait by first placing my tracing paper over the top of my template, and I'm going to use just a small amount of masking tape just to hold it in place so that it doesn't slide around. And you keep it in position while you're drawing, and then it's secured on just with a couple of pieces. And I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to trace over the image. So that when you transfer it onto your foil, you know where to press. There we are. Just checking that I've done everywhere. And you can take it a template, and you can see I've got the outline on the tracing paper now. So now I'm going to transfer it onto a piece of aluminium. So this is the aluminium. You can do it on either side, they're both the same. And like I did before, I'm going to place it on top, get it in the position I want it, and then use some masking tape to hold it in position while I work, so that it doesn't slide around everywhere. Then take your pencil again, and you're just going to go over the lines, and this time pushing quite firmly down, because you want to push a mark into the aluminium underneath. So you need to apply a certain amount of pressure so that it comes out. Right, So now you can lift up your tracing paper. Oops, and move that to one side, and you'll see it's made an indent into the foil where you've pressed and made the line. So this is your starting point for making your drawing onto the aluminium. So you've got a guide there. So you can now, I find it easier to use the end of a, if I can find a good one, end of a paintbrush, because you want something that's not too sharp, that is just going to push the aluminium foil, but that doesn't leave a mark. So this, if you just go over the lines that you've done and push them down further, and start to bring out the shape of the face. And again, you do have to press quite firmly and keep going backwards and forwards over that area. And then what you'll find is if you're working on one side and pushing down the lines just on one side, slowly your foil will start to fold upwards because you're bending it this way. So it's important to do some lines this way and then turn it over the other way, and then next to the line you've just done, press down again, and that just evens it up so it's bending both ways, so it's not folding up. So sort of for every bend you do one way, you need to just bend it back the other way. So if you go next to the line you've just done, you'll see you leave a raised area, and you can go both sides of the line. Oops. So it stands out, and feel it with your finger there. You can turn it back over. Go around. Deepening the lines. It's really important that you're working on this rubber mat, because it just gives you a bit of a cushion, which makes it easier to make the impression onto the aluminium. So I keep going back over the lines to deepen them, make them stand out more. I go over the features as well. Bring out the eyes. And for some areas, you might like them to stand out not just at the edge, you might want to push them out completely. So for like the pupils in the middle of the eyes, you can turn it over to the back and push them almost like colouring it in. So you move the end of the paintbrush, push it forward. When you turn it back over, you can see you get the eye, the whole of it has popped out like that. And kind of once you've got to this point where you've got the main features mapped out, you can start to add other things to your face. So I'm going to add some hair now. I'm going to add a fringe. So for this, you can just start to build it up. You do lines into it. That's backwards and forwards. Doing this quite loose because I've done lots of lines now on this side. You'll see it's really folding up and bending that way, so I turn it over and I go in and out of the lines I've just done. That makes them stand out, and it also bends that aluminium flat again. Turn it back over and go over it again. There we are. So you don't have to worry too much about where you're putting the lines for this kind of detail. You just keep adding it in, building it up. That's it. And you can feel it. Add some hair around the sides. Yeah, turn it back over. So you might look at it now and decide that actually you don't want to add any more detail once you get to this point. You might feel like you've done enough and you're happy with it the way it is. So you can keep it quite simple like that. Or you can start to add more, so you can make the nose stick out a bit more by turning it over and actually rubbing over an area of the centre of the nose. And just make sure you go over the whole area, and that'll push it all out the other side. And create this raised area in the middle of the nose. And you just need to remember to kind of go around the edge to flatten it, make it stand out. You might do the same with the nostrils. You can colour those in, push them forwards. So it sort of becomes like sculpting. So actually you're slowly bringing out areas of the face to make them raised. You can do the lips as well. So you're making the face look three-dimensional. You also might like to do something around your portrait. So you can do, like I've done with this other one, just some kind of swirly patterns and just play with the different ways that you can fill the space and make the lines. Or you can do something more like, you know, a flower pattern. Oh, you can do all sorts of things with it, however you feel you want to fill your background. So you can do some flowers, create the centre. And you don't have to be too exact. You can play with different shapes, different marks. Yeah. Right, I'll stop there with that one. But you can see that there's lots of things that you can do with it, and you could work on it for a long time, bringing out the details if you keep working into it, pushing it back, turning it over, pushing other areas. You can make a really quite detailed image, which is a really unusual technique. It's really fun to play with. So I really hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, or you need any help with anything or any advice, just give us a call on the number provided in the box. But yeah, I really hope you enjoy this process and look forward to seeing your embossed portraits.